Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future, the show we do every single Friday where we preview and you can pre-order the latest and greatest upcoming comics. That's right, we're going to show you what's coming out in about 3 weeks to a month from several different publishers, and we're going to get right into it. But first, my name is Megan.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Jason. We're all with Infinity Flux Comics out of the lovely Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That is right. We have a comic shop here that's been open almost 6.5 years. So some of you watching actually shop here with us, but lots of you live all over the country, maybe even further away. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you do need a shop to order from, we'll have some info on the screen at the end. But let's go ahead and get into the books.
First off is a very exciting one. This is Future State Gotham. And what's so cool about this is the first mention of Future State post Future State. So it even has the same trade dress on and everything as DC's event that just wrapped up just a week or so ago. And I think this is really cool because this is going to continue the story of, as it says, Gotham in the Future State timeline, which means it's going to pick up on some of the story plots that were in Dark Detective, Nightwing, some of the backup stories with like Red Hood and everything. And this is going to be written by Joshua Williamson, who is one of DC's top writers right now, along with Dennis Culver, who's actually an editor at Sci-Fi Wire. And the art is by, and this is a name I'm going to butcher, Giannis Milanogiannis. So
you hit it perfect.
It's like I was clawing my way through the last name. And yeah, so this sounds really cool. Picking up the story of Red Hood, it seems like they're going to be doing a few stories. Like the first one's going to be a Red Hood one, but then maybe it's going to shift gears to a different character in Gotham. But to begin with is Red Hood, who is kind of reluctantly working for the magistrate, hunting down masked vigilantes. And doesn't seem too good, but seems he's secretly kind of gathering evidence against the magistrate for some mysterious benefactor who's yet to be revealed, which I think is cool because there's still so many characters in Future State that we didn't see that we kind of wonder where they are, like Punchline or some of the other, where's Damian Wayne during the whole thing?
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of MIA characters during the Future State event that they could definitely pull in here. So this starts seems to be an ongoing, but like I said, it'll probably be kind of arcs following different characters. So this is the A cover.
I like that one too. I mean, somebody's cool and they have the sawed-off shotgun slung over the shoulder. It's cool that Red Hood's playing sort of a double agent.
Yeah, he's a perfect character for that. And then we have the variant cover. This is the James STOKOE variant, which is, did no one notice when they were playing in Gotham? Like, hey guys, this kind of looks like a bat from the air. Maybe the weather guy was like, oh, from this angle. But really cool variant cover as well. Excited about this one.
All right, next up from DC is Justice League Last Ride. So this is a two-parter. It's just 2 issues, sort of a what-if series by Chip Zdarsky, who, doesn't really write for DC too much. He's more of a Marvel guy, so I'm interested to see what he does with these DC characters. So the idea is the Justice League disbanded years ago. Something happened. There was some very high-profile murder. I think the solicitation says the greatest murder ever, which I don't know if any murder could be great, but apparently somebody very close to the League was murdered, possibly one of their members, and it just kind of tears them apart. They disbanded the League. Time has passed, and now on the eve of this death, they try to get back together, but Batman and Superman in particular have a lot of problems with each other over what happened. Surprise, surprise. And they got to try to pull the League back together for one last time to try to stop a group of their greatest villains that somehow link into whatever it was that broke them up in the first place. So, anytime something has Last Ride on it, I think of like Cowboys. You got to pull the posse back together for one last ride. So I think that's cool. I think that's exciting. I'm glad they're not doing it in just a one-shot. I feel like any story that's that way, that's a what-if, needs a little room to breathe. So 2 issues sounds about right to me. So that is the A cover, and here is the B cover by Miguel Mendonca.
Mm. That's cool.
Yep. And so I'd assume whoever's murdered is not on that cover, but you never know.
Yeah, there's so many Justice League members. It's, you know, you could say anybody.
Yeah.
All right, moving to some Marvel books. Next, we have X-Corp. Or would you say X-Corp? X-Corp. This is about
Because it's
corporate.
corporation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have the mutants safe on Krakoa, and rather than being an adventure book, although I'm sure there is going to be some adventure and fighting in this, this is all about the business of X-Corp, of what it's like on Krakoa. So really interesting, very different sort of premise. I imagine this is going to be a bit of a more slowed down cerebral book. It's written by Teeny Howard with art by Alberto Foche. So hope I pronounced that right too. So anyway, it has Monet Saint Croix. This thing is just a minefield of trying to mispronounce
tiptoeing through
something.
names.
Saint Croix and Angel. So they are the two biggest business dealers of Krakoa right now. So we're going to see what they're going through with this. Jason and I were talking about earlier, you know, they have anti-cancer medicine and some other stuff there. So they definitely have some reasons to be dealing in this stuff with other countries and other societies. So we'll see how it goes. It's very famous. Has two different covers. 3 total. That was the A cover. This is the NAUCK headshot variant.
Knock with his headshots.
This one floating.
That's
in
literally a
clouds.
floating head.
Yeah.
Somebody could have just decapitated him, and you just can't quite see the blood and viscera at
Yeah.
that very moment.
Exactly.
He hasn't realized.
It's like
it
they
yet.
had an argument, and as his head's flying away, it's still giving him a look like, I'm still right.
And then we also have a Scotty Young cover. It's pretty funny. I read this. This is, we have Wolverine talking to Angel, being like, what? You're not wearing a costume. You're wearing a suit. You look ridiculous. And Angel's like, you look ridiculous. Let's clean you up. So we'll see. A very grown-up X-Men book, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
it's. I'm really wondering how they're gonna swing this, because I mean, traditionally reading a book about people sitting in an office is not the most exciting. But once again, I mean, I think we would have thought something would have happened with Krakoa by now that would have brought them crumbling down. But they keep building at a exponential rate that's kind of weird, and I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I've always wanted to see how mutant powers would figure into the business world. You know, I went to business school, and I wondered that every day. I was like, if I had mutant powers, I could, you know, broker a deal much easier.
And I know Warren Worthington Angel comes from like a rich family and everything, but wings are probably the least helpful in a business situation. I mean, they don't make office chairs that have wing holes, and it's not like you're like fast at typing or anything.
I assume as the deal sours, he turns into Archangel.
Oh, that's true.
You don't want to, you know, go back on your word with him.
So next up is Fantastic Four number 32. And why this one is special, we are kicking off the Bride of Doom storyline. So that ladies' man, Dr. Doom, really settling down. So I think this is really interesting because, I mean, I probably am a bigger fan of Doctor Doom than the Fantastic Four, and I think this is interesting, taking his character in this direction. So Dan Slott is starting this story out by actually turning the focus to Human Torch, and kind of with his relationships, and he has an ex, and he has this his new fiance and everything. But they promise there's still going to be plenty of clobbering time in here, which very happy about. But this also coincides with the Fantastic Four's 60th anniversary. So this promises to really kind of shake things up. Doom is an interesting character now because they've kind of explored him less of a villain. I mean, he's even going to be on the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a lot of stuff with Doom going on, so I think this will be a pretty interesting storyline to see where it takes him.
I'm assuming that's a Mark Brooks cover?
That's a Mark Brooks cover.
So.
Yeah.
Really
So cool. It's big when they pull in Brooks to do the cover.
Yeah.
Then we have, of course, the Peach Momoko cover.
Really, like the most gentle Doom I've ever seen.
I know. I read an interview with her where she said she's really happy that Marvel basically gave her free reign of like, this is the subject of the book. Do whatever you want. We're not going to give you any, direction. Just whatever your image is for this. And
Good on Marvel for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's the softest Doctor Doom cover I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then we have the Ron Lim, the happy couple, which they have announced who he is marrying, but the way they have it shrouded and everything, I don't want to give it away in case there's some more spoilers to it than I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So this looks like they're they either have this painting over the fireplace, or they send this to the grandparents to hang up in the living room.
And I think it's neat because he can't take off his mask, so she kind of leaves the veil on to make them sort of equal in that way.
And then, of course, we have a Scotty Young cover.
He's being held.
With the wedding cake. Really, really cute cover.
Okay, so also up for order is Heroes Reborn #2. So we know #1 is not out yet, so it's tough to go to your comic store and be like, sign me up for #2 without having read #1. I got to read a preview of #1. It was a lot of fun. If you want to read a good Marvel event book that is a what if, but I think what really this apart is most what if stories, everybody is in that reality. In this one, you have Blade, who's from the regular Marvel universe, going, wait a minute, this isn't right. Where are the Avengers? So I think that's a nice twist on it, that it's not just what if. It is somewhat canon because you have that one character thread going on. This book, #2, is following Hyperion, who is sort of the main guy of the team that is filling in for the Avengers, because they never existed. And so in this issue, you're following Hyperion, you're seeing what he's up to, which he's trying to put Doctor Doom into the negative zone. That's apparently his Hyperion has the prison, which is the negative zone, which I think is, wow, you had to do some bad stuff to be banished there. So Doctor Doom, who in the first issue, funny enough, has the gem of Sidorak. You have to see what that turns him into. New costume, new name, and everything. He goes to put him in there, and apparently some characters he already has in there try to launch a break. So I guess he's like opening the door, like, go on in, Doom, and then they're busting out. And it's, what is it? It's Ultron, Immortal Hulk is apparently in the negative zone prison. So that's what's happening in #2. There's also a backup story that follows Blade. And as I said, Blade is trying to figure out what has happened to the reality he knows. So that's going on as well.
I think it's interesting when you say that, because if you know about the Squadron Supreme and Hyperion, they're all kind of takeoffs of the Justice League
analogs.
And to have Hyperion have that is the negative zone is like Superman having the Phantom Zone.
Correct.
And I'm pretty sure the same story happened with Zod and some of his characters breaking out of the Phantom Zone.
Right.
So I want to see how...
seems like they're riffing off of
how close
stuff.
they're holding the finger to DC's head saying I'm not touching you, and seeing how that plays out.
So there are a couple variants for this. Here is the Mark Bagley trading card variant. I mean, that just gives me 1992 shivers looking at. I mean, it's perfect. They better have somehow on the back of the cover like the stats and everything.
I think they're also supposed to stores are going to be getting like packs of, or not packs of cards, but like almost how Three Jokers did the playing cards.
Oh, cool.
I think there's supposed to be cards for this as well that have these on it.
That's awesome. Here is the BUSTOS Stormbreakers variant. And you might see some character mashup sort of things on these. I don't know if this one you do. Because in issue 1, Thor's a big part of issue 1. He's not looking like that.
Yeah.
So. And then we have there is the Christopher action figure variant. The cover's not ready yet, but we just want you to know about it in case you collect those, so that way you can get everything.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing one for each issue, I think.
So along with all this, there's a bunch of one-shots coming out that I'm going to talk about, the first 2 of them. The first one is Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. This is a one-shot. It is Hyperion and his team, the Imperial Guard. This is back when they were younger. They're kind of like a teenage team, I believe. And the premise, I thought the premise was pretty funny. It's another negative zone premise, but the part that got me, this is the actual words from the solicitation, promises horror and agony beyond their wildest nightmares.
Oh gosh.
Fun.
I know. Like I looked at the cover, I'm like, I don't.
Are those
I mean,
Brood?
yeah, I see brood around it. So if you want to read a one shot about Hyperion and them when they were younger, and apparently go to the negative zone, and they get horror and agony beyond their wildest nightmare,
Yeah.
there it is.
And also to follow up on how it's like DC, it's a little Superman in the Legion of Superheroes, where he's younger, he joins this intergalactic team.
You're right.
I think it's not the most subtle nod to what they're playing off of.
And once again, this is a one shot. So you can read just the main books, or you can span into these. There is a variant by Caldwell they didn't have ready in time, so we don't have that, but I do want to make you aware there is a variant. So the other one shot that is coming out is Peter Parker, the Amazing Shutterbug. So I'm pretty
Love that
interested
title.
in this. There's been a lot of what if books with Spider-Man. In fact, he might be in more what if stories
Yeah.
than any character ever. This one's neat because Peter Parker does not have any powers. He is just working for the Daily Bugle. He's a normal guy, but guess what? He's obsessed with superheroes. It was sort of always in him. And in particular, he's obsessed with Hyperion. So he starts following around with his camera, and of course, he's going to get into all kinds of trouble trying to follow the superhero to be a part of the action and get the scoop. So,
Jimmy Olsen.
there you go. Once
I'm
again,
doing it. I can. Let's see if I can figure out all of them.
we've got to do this for all of the issues now, because I mean, clearly this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like this would be the most overly coincidental thing
It
ever.
would.
There is a B cover to this by Greg Land. It is not ready yet. Just want to make you aware.
So next up is this is cool. We're getting
Yeah.
close to the War of the Bounty Hunters. This is Star Wars number, I believe it's 13. Yeah, 13. That is the prelude to the War of the Bounty Hunters big event that's going to happen. So this will come out, I'm guessing, maybe the week after War for the Bounty Hunters Alpha, because we
Yeah.
talked about
Like it,
that
yeah.
last week.
Yep.
But as you know, this big storyline is there's going to be the Alpha issue, then there's going to be an ongoing, I believe, like 5-issue War for the Bounty Hunters. But also, all the Star Wars titles are kind of crossing over with it for an issue or two, and this will be our first kind of our first crossover. And I'm really excited about this for very personal reasons. We'll see if it happens. So this one says that Chewbacca gets a tip from an old friend about where Boba Fett might have Han, where he's holding out before he takes him to Jabba. And so they go to Nar Shaddaa. It's like Coruscant, but it's way seedier, if that's possible, and to meet this person to get this information. I'm going to make my crazy speculation that this person is Dash Rendar. This was the story from Shadows of the Empire. He's my favorite Star Wars character from the old N64 game. But maybe this could be his first appearance in a Marvel comic, kind of first since the adaptation of Shadows of the Empire. It kind of fits in with the original story of Shadows of the Empire. So maybe that's my crazy speculation. Look out for this. Also, there's an other story in it about R2 trying to deliver information about the Jedi Order to Luke, and will he make it there in time? But looks really fun. I'm really excited for this event. I think it's going to be one of the biggest things Star Wars has done with Marvel, I mean, since they launched.
Yeah.
And they're letting Charles Soule kind of be the dude running
Yeah.
it. Like, he's not writing it all, but he's the guy behind the main
the
thing.
showrunner or whatever you want to call it.
And
for
his run
comics.
on Vader was my favorite.
Yeah,
It was
it's so good.
good.
This also has an action figure variant of one of the very background characters from, I believe, Return of the Jedi, or I guess it could be Empire, but he's just a guy who hangs around the Emperor.
I feel like he's somebody where all food is bland to him. He could be like eating a piece of pizza and be like, I don't really like this.
He's gonna leave a bad Yelp review or something for everywhere he goes.
That expression.
Then we have what they're doing. These are interesting. They're doing these Crimson variants, which are just the A cover with the red slider bar increased a little bit, but they're cool. Especially the one for the Bounty Hunters Alpha was really neat. So Looks like they're going to be doing this for all of them.
This one almost looks like his lightsaber is lighting the area.
It is.
Like otherwise it'd be pretty dark.
And then we have the Empire Strikes Back variant. Still, this was my call for this one, that you see Luke hanging from the thing from the bottom of from the spire on Bespin, and then Leia's getting the Force call from him. So we're getting close to the end of these. It'll be interesting to see what they do next.
Okay, the next one is Time Before Time. It is a new Image series. I think this has a really neat premise. So it's set in the year 2140, and they don't say why, but they say the world no longer has a future. So the world has turned really bad. It's not a nice place to live, and it looks like maybe it's ending for some reason or another. The rich are able to pay money to this crime syndicate that has a time machine.
Oh.
And what they'll do is they'll send you back in time so you can live out your life in a time period that isn't ending and that isn't awful. So I think that's cool. I mean, I've heard a lot of time travel story ideas. I've never heard one quite like this.
Yeah.
So the syndicate owns this time machine, and there are two members of it who aren't quite as bad as the rest, and they decide, hey, you know what? It shouldn't just be rich people going back in time. It should be us. So they steal the time machine, and that's where things get really sticky. So I don't know if they're going to use it. I don't know if they're going to be traveling through time or get chased through time. Maybe there'll be time cops. I don't know. Always hope time cops are in things. But I think it's a really strong premise. I hope we get to see, I guess, one thing I hope I see in this, I really hope they give people choices. I'm always interested. You know, you have a conversation with your friend. If you had to live in another time period in the past, what would you choose? And they're like, ancient Rome, or, you know, I hope they explore things like that. I think that would be fun.
There's going to be so many time paradoxes. If they're just throwing people back in time, there's going to be a billion different...
There's got to be rules. It's got to be like, you know, if we're going to let you do this, you have to live quietly.
Yeah.
And they must have a way to check on it. Anyway, a lot can be done with a book like this, so I'm pretty interested. This is the A cover. There is a B cover right here by Leon. Now that is it. Just those two covers.
All right, I am super excited about this one. This book is called Red Room, and it is by Ed Piskor, who did Hip Hop Family Tree, X-Men Grand Design. He has his own YouTube channel, actually, and a pretty large following, at least around here. So this is about, let's see, let me get all my words right here. So it's about the internet conspiracy theory or urban legend that exists, that there is a place, a red room as they call it, where people will live stream murders and tortures and all sorts of things for people who want to pay to see that. So once again, conspiracy theory on the dark web that such places exist. I hope none of you inhabit those.
I love you describing this as your shirt says happy. it's a big contrast.
You guys may not know that your girl likes rivers of gore, which is what is advertised on this cover. I love it. So this is basically like if EC Comics never stopped publishing and just got more extreme as time went on. So this is definitely not for kids. This is probably not for most adults unless you have a very strong stomach. I do, though. Come on. Join me. So this is going to be a 12 or 13 part miniseries. There may or may not be something weird coming out with it. Each issue is going to be standalone, even though it takes place in the same universe, a lot like Ice Cream Man. Same universe, but each issue is standalone. The first issue is $6.99, but it's 64 pages. It's really oversized.
Yeah, it's triple size.
Yeah, and it's published by Fantagraphics, and I don't think that's a mistake. I think that probably Image and some other publishers probably, it might be difficult.
Probably would have passed on that.
It's gonna have some, you know, rough content. Maybe the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund might have to come to its aid. I hope so. Anyway, this seems really cool. It's just got the one cover. It does have some incentives. If you follow us on our Facebook page, you can check those out. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got to say about this. I'm excited for it.
I guess you paint a room red instead of black or another color when there is going to be lots of blood.
Yeah. So. Or maybe it's painted, it's red because of all the blood that exists.
Okay.
But I checked out some of the art in this. I mean, it's great. So, yeah.
Next up is The House of Lost Horizons, a Sarah Jewell mystery. I didn't know really even this was coming out, but once I read about it, I was like, that sounds really cool. This is from the universe, the mind of Mike Mignola and Chris Roberson, of Hellboy fame and Witchfinder and all that. I think this is set in the Witchfinder universe. That's not the Hellboy universe, but it's this other very similar in tone universe. And this sounds really cool. So Sarah Jewell is a like a private investigator. Her and her partner go to this island, a private island, for a getaway, but it is full of suspects because this is a locked room murder mystery. So one of your classic Clue, whodunit, everyone's trapped on there, everybody's giving the side eye to everyone else. But what kind of gives it the Mignola flair is they're all there for a auction of occult items. So very much in like all your Hellboy and everything. And they must solve this mystery as the bodies keep piling up. So I think this sounds really cool. This is right in the wheelhouse of those creators. And I believe it's just a couple issue miniseries.
I think it's just 5 issues.
Yeah, I think so. I like how they do this. They just do the little miniseries and they're like collected in a single trade.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sounds really fun. Really, I like the tone of the creepy.
Yeah, I like locked room murder mysteries. I like classic horror though.
Yeah.
So it's great. Everybody has secrets. They all come out.
Yeah.
All right, so from Aftershock Comics, this is Silver City #1, another comic that I think has a very interesting premise that I'm looking forward to reading. I did not get a preview copy of this, unfortunately, yet. So what is Silver City? Silver City is a gritty, purgatorial metropolis. So apparently when you die, you end up in this like in-between world that is the Silver City. Some gritty, interesting spot. Anyhow, you have this sort of tough girl. You see her there on the cover. She's there. She's died. She doesn't know how she's died. So she wakes up and she's determined to figure out who or what killed her. And she's not going to take no for an answer. All the while, she's developed some sort of kinetic powers. So that's the general premise. I like afterlife style stories. I think it's cool when you create sort of a world there. It's not just, oh, it's the afterlife. It's a blank room or something of that sort. I like characters that are forceful and drive the story. And I think in a story like this with sort of world building, that could be really, really good. So another cool looking Aftershock comic coming out.
Especially that guy's hair. That guy has some cool hair. It's like Hawkeye from Avengers Endgame.
I see. You went cool. I was going to say flock of seagulls, but I think you're more right. And it's just this cover. There is an incentive cover, but there's not another open order cover.
All right. Next up is White by Kwanzaa Oshayefo. Hopefully I pronounced that one right too. Anyway, this is of course by the creator of Black. You can see that based on the font here. It looks very similar to how the first one did. So this is, if you read the original series, it is about what if black people were the only ones who had superpowers. So very unique premise. This is the villain of this series here. The creator described as an older, amoral Tony Stark.
No.
And I read a couple interviews about this, and the creator was very adamant. All the interviewers sort of wanted to steer this into, hey, are you writing about like current political situations? A lot of what you write seems like it could be. And he was just very adamant. No, this is my own creation. I'm not drawing from current politics or anything. If you see those similarities, that's just because that's just how it's playing out. But I thought that was interesting. So these, I believe, were Kickstarted books, both this and Black. And this is limited to 2,500 copies. Wow. So I am 100% sure this is going to be allocated.
And go to second print.
Go to second print. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend pre-ordering this. And maybe don't be too shocked or upset if you don't get it. That is a very small print number.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. Excited for this.
Ooh, next up is Joker number 3. This is the variant cover for it, but I mean, Joker has been such a great series so far. Issue 1 was great. Issue 2, kept it up. So I believe this is a Fabok cover.
I think it's.
Oh, this
Finch.
is.
Finch.
Yes, this is the David Finch variant. Another take on the playing card that we see so often, but
What's going
really
on with
cool.
his eye?
He lost it in that one thing. And then we have the Gary Frank variant, which is really cool with Punchline in the background.
Okay, so yeah, we're at the part of the show where we go over just other cool covers that we think people might want, just other variants and such. So this is Superman Red and Blue number 3. So this has 5 more stories by various writers and artists, all about Superman, all starring Superman, including there's one in there by James STOKOE, and I want to see how his art style plays out for this. I'm a big fan of his art style, and I don't think I've ever seen him do any Superman. So, but all these stories are done in Superman's primary colors.
I feel like they're mixing the red and blue a bit to make some purple in this on this cover, though.
Yeah, it looks like I could put on those red and blue 3D glasses and this would pop.
Yeah.
And there is also the B cover by John Paul Leon, and the C cover by Derek Chu.
The series has had great covers.
All right, next up is Wonder Woman 772. The Norse narrative is continuing with this, and this is the Joshua Middleton variant cover. Super creepy. Joshua Middleton just continuing to be amazing. So this is a really, really cool one.
It's very fairy tale.
Yeah.
Like the smoky, foggy woods and the lone person walking through them.
Who's got this one?
This is Batman the Detective number 2. This is the variant cover by Andy Kubert. So issue 1 just came out. Was that this week? The issue 1 came out.
Batman the Detective.
Yes. Great series. Great kickoff to a limited series. And this one is crazy. But you can see that those new is it Equilibrium?
Yes, the group
Equilibrium, who wear the all white. Well, in the first issue they just wear the cowl, but in this one it looks like they're wearing all white Batman suits. So really, really cool in there.
Yeah, and I can attest. Issue 1. If you haven't read issue number 1, give it a try. I told everyone on our last show. I know there's a lot of Bat titles. But, I mean, it's really good. The issue 1, I think, will draw just pretty much anyone in. All right, so next up, Batman Fortnite number 4 is open order right now. It's funny. So we talked a lot about Batman Fortnite on previous shows.
Yep.
And not a lot of people ordered it. We told everyone, hey, it comes with a digital code. Go tell your friends, their kids, all that. Well, now we have people calling the store for it.
Yep.
People have missed out, and this, I think it's pre-selling now for like $20 or more.
Yeah.
So here's your chance to at least order number 4, as many as you want in it. Number 3 is the one where he meets Snake Eyes. That one, it's too late.
Yep.
That's what Comics for the Future is all about. We were talking about that the other week. So number 4, the solicitation is Batman is out of the time loop. I know you haven't read any of these, so maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. It's not a spoiler because it's in the solicitation. You can read anywhere. What does he discover now that he's out of the time loop and he's able to speak again? There's supposed to be secrets revealed about the Fortnite universe. I think it just took a little too long to disseminate this info to the actual Fortnite, to the 350 million players. So I think this is going to end up being really scarce. So,
yeah, especially with those codes. Each issue gets you a different item or skin in the game, and then if you get them all, you unlock like the special Batman costume. Yeah, I mean, you can just get individual ones and get the one items, but if you want to get them all, that's going to be increasingly getting harder.
It is. So if you were on the fence about this before, you wanted to wait for number 1 to come out to read it, I know it's a smart move usually, but it turns out in this case it's probably not a smart move. Us retailers have underordered it. I mean, we ordered a ton. I think the number of people who had subscribed and I multiplied it by like 10 and we're still going to probably run out all of a sudden based on people calling this week.
And I thought issue 1 was pretty fun, even if you don't know a lot about Fortnite or the characters. I mean, the thing about Fortnite is the characters already don't have a lot of lore. It's kind of like they're from their own universe dropped in here.
And mindless killing.
Yeah, so you're kind of you're following Batman also being really confused about what's going on. And it's kind of fun to see him look at some of these characters and be like, why is there a banana here?
Yeah, if you're looking for a serious Batman story, you can pass.
I don't think anyone is thinking that.
Correct. But if you want a Batman story with characters you see on the cover there, then there it is.
Alright, next up, Challenge of the Super Sons, number 2. This is the Bradshaw B cover story. It's just continuing of the Sons of Batman and Sons of Batman and Superman, as they have to save various heroes as they're targeted one by one. So a lot like Adventures of the Super Sons, just really lighthearted and fun. So this is the B cover.
Yeah, and it looks like Darkseid is on the cover of this one too. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Considering, what we saw in Infinite Frontier, I don't know if any of that'll figure in.
Okay, here we go. This is a big one. This is Black Panther number 25. This is the last issue of Ta-Nehisi Coates' epic run that started in 2016 of Black Panther, that started the intergalactic Wakanda storyline. It's finally, at least his story arc is coming to a close. I don't know if this is actually the last issue of Black Panther. It's going to continue after this. But they are really, really pushing this issue. I mean, it's been a literally award-winning run on Black Panther. But this one, art by Daniel Arcuna, and a backup story by Brian Stelfreeze that says it's going to have repercussions for years. I know every last issue of every comic ever says that. But with as big as this one has been, I think it will be very interesting to see what state Black Panther is left at the end of it, where he's going to go from there. So what's also huge about this is there are a ton of variant covers. I've never seen this many variant covers for the last issue of a thing. So I believe this is the A cover. We have the BUSTOS Stormbreakers variant.
Look at all the little panthers on his mask.
This is a panther inside a panther with birds around the outside.
Reminds me a lot of Reggie.
Then we have the Cabal Stormbreakers variant with the Fantastic Four down there.
I know, he's spying on him.
He's on a really high up tree about to jump down on him. Then we have the Carnero Stormbreakers variant. This one's funny because all the Stormbreakers, the new highlighted artists at Marvel, it seems like they all got a variant for this.
Calling all Marvel variant artists. Black Panther number 25 is here.
Then we have the Coelho Stormbreakers variant. This is the Kasara variant. Yeah,
that's really cool.
It's like a mosaic.
I like that.
Really cool.
It's like a lot of effort went into that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Then we have, I believe, this is the Coelho variant, which it kind of looks like he's running from the Panther, which is kind of funny. This one's cool. So this is the Gleason, very much in the style of the Webheads variants. I think you could easily put this in that collection of the Webhead variants. It's with
slick looking.
Yeah, very minimal, using kind of other elements to showcase the profile of the character.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And this is one of the ones you should let your store know if you want it. Because I bet you stores are going to under order, and then people are going to go, "Oh, I want the Gleason Webhead," and that's enough like it.
Yeah. So it's hard with comic book stores because when you have so many variants, you're not going to order a ton of each of them, so your numbers get smaller and smaller, kind of the more variants there are, unless there's one that really stands out. But stores don't know, which one's going to be the hot one unless you tell them.
That's one of the whole reasons we started the show. Way back, we started doing something like this, just to try to get some handle on.
Yeah. Get the information to people and get some early numbers that can help us with our orders.
Then we have the Peach Momoko cover, which I think is really cool. This is very different of her style. Especially, she tends to use, I mean, like white paper as the background. This looks like it was definitely done on a tonal paper. Very like it looks like the watercolor has like soaked into the paper. I don't know. It's just a very unique look for it.
I really like that.
I know a lot of people are really excited about this one. Then we have the Reborn variant. I believe Carlos Pacheco is doing all of these. So what the character looks like in this Reborn universe. Then we have the Silva, RB Silva Stormbreakers variant.
The Andy Warhol variant.
The many colors of Black Panther. Funny enough, black was not on that cover. And then we have the Stealth-Freeze variant.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, this is the Stealth-Freeze
Yeah,
variant.
there was
that
one
was
more.
the Pratt variant. There's so many, it's hard to keep these all lined up.
Okay, so this is the Stealth-Freeze.
That's the Stealth-Freeze, yeah.
Okay. So now that we've been through all the Black Panther, here is the variant cover to Black Hammer Visions number 4. This is the Martin variant cover. I like, it's a lot with a little.
It's reminding me of WandaVision, just
Yeah.
the TV and the retro look.
I thought this was cool, so I threw it in the slides. I thought some people might like this. Just showcases each of the main characters, looking a little different, looking a little more upstanding than they often do in the comic. So I'm a big Black Hammer fan. This issue is actually written by Mariko Tamaki.
Oh.
And it's a one-shot, so if you haven't been reading all the Visions, they're all sort of one-shot in the Black Hammer universe with some of the characters. This one promises to be a mix between a gothic soap opera and a space soap opera.
Oh.
So that cover, that...
But definitely soap opera.
Definitely.
You might want to let your store know you want it.
Okay, this is Ice Cream Man number 24. No, this is not a second, third, or fourth printing, even though it kind of is giving me that vibe. But it is just the A cover to issue number 24. If you don't know, Ice Cream Man, all these are one-shots. The premise to this is that it's a telethon, call in and trying to raise money. I wonder who will be on the horror chopping block of this issue. So this is the A cover. And then the B cover is Turl, one of the most... I don't know. You see a very ominous looking ice cream cone back there.
Fantastical, like it's a mountain or something in the distance.
Yeah. No matter how much we order of Ice Cream Man, it always sells out over time. So we'll definitely be having a bit of these on the shelf, but get your orders in also.
Next up is Silver Coin number 2. This is the B cover. This is by... this is the Tula Lotay variant. And this one is set, much like Ice Cream Man, where they're all standalone stories. This one is set in 1993 at a idyllic summer camp, but there's your classic mean girl bullying a kid. And what happens when that kid gets the silver coin, which is one of your classic tropes of it gives you some kind of power or some kind of ability, but also takes from you as well. So, sounds really cool. It promises to be a very kind of classic horror movie story.
Okay, so next up, this is one of 3 covers that you could get if you get the variant for Magic the Gathering number 2. So how they're doing their variants is they're polybagging them where you can't see what they are, and it's one of 3 different Planeswalker ones. So I think they're trying to mimic the game because in the game you buy the packs of cards and you have ones you're looking for, and sometimes you get a more rare one or a less. And so I think that's how they're doing these polybag variants. So I think this is important information. There are some people that want all the covers, and if you hope to get all the covers, you're gonna have to get at least 3. You may have to get more. You might even have to go in with some friends and then trade amongst each other, like the Magic cards, to make sure you get all the covers. So, and if you liked the first issue, here's your chance to sign up to make sure you get all of them.
All right, this is Proctor Valley Road number 3. It's a 5-part series, so we're more than halfway through here with the Wild Goose variant. These have been very popular around here, so this is the B Wild Goose variant.
Next up is Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 2. Number 1 just came out this week. all about what if Peter Parker kept the black symbiote suit and started to slowly turn into Venom. This one, where the last one kind of ended, kind of where the new story begins.
Right.
You know, we kind of saw like the traditional setup of the suit, and now this is going on to, as you can see here, I believe Mary Jane is trying to defend herself from this suit. It also talks about that there is a character who is kind of in charge of investigating what's going on with Spider-Man and maybe hunting him down. So sounds really interesting. Issue 1 was really cool. This is Marvel's What If storyline. So pick up number 2 if you got number 1.
Yeah, something happens by the end of issue number 1 that really changes everything for Peter Parker. So, all right, this is Guardians of the Galaxy number 14. This is just a regular cover. So in issue 13, a new team is formed that is more like a superhero team. They're more like the Avengers. They have so many members. They can split up and do different things. This issue continues that. The team's actually in 2 different areas, but they're still in communication with each other. And I think it's funny. So as many new members as they have, and you can see a lot of members, apparently this issue promises another space hero joins them. Doesn't say who.
How many seats do they have?
Yeah, I don't know. So, but it's interesting. They're becoming their own little Nova Corps, but with all different power sets.
And I love they all have matching costumes except for Doom. And he's like, nope, sticking with the classic.
Yep. So, and this is by Al Ewing. So a lot of people have been jumping back on Guardians. I'm happy for one that Marvel isn't just doing another number 1.
Yeah.
Like, just, let us tell people and they'll jump in.
It kind of caught me off guard when you said number, what is it?
14.
14? Because I was thinking in my head, oh, this is number 2.
Yeah.
Because the last one felt so much like a new number 1.
Yeah.
All right, this is Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 2. Number 1 also just came out this past week. It's a great price point, especially for a younger reader. It's still only $2.99. It's going to be a 12-part series, I'm pretty sure. So here we have the Scooby-Doo team teaming up with Batman. Lots of different villain every issue. And it looks like Joker is going to be a big part of this one. So really cool series. Glad it exists.
Yeah, the number 1 was so classic Scooby-Doo, the way everyone acted and spoke, but done from somebody who had watched it.
Yeah.
A little bit updated. I can't wait to hear sort of the voice he gives Joker in this.
This one I'm really excited about.
Yes.
Geiger number 2. So I loved number 1 from Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. It was such a, I don't know, just scratched all my itches of this glow-in-the-dark skeleton who's guarding this this vault that has possibly still his family in it, keeping them safe in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. Well, this one says that there is an item that's discovered in the wasteland. Is it a weapon? What does it do? But all of the warlords of Las Vegas, which if you read the last issue, you know about, which are really a fun idea, are all after this. But so is our main character, Geiger, who will get it first. So really excited, this series. The number 1, we ordered a lot of it, sold out of it. I feel like it took people, I had a lot of people being like, well, how is this? How is this? Once I gave them the sales pitch on it, told them, like, I read it, it's awesome. People really into it, add it to their pull list. So
a much bigger hit than expected. Like, we expected it to be a hit, and it was even a bigger hit than expected. And rightfully so. It was a great first issue. And I mean, look at this cover. Like, he's fighting irradiated ants.
Yeah.
Like, that's really locking it in with anyone who's related this to sort of Fallout.
Yes. So. Next he's going to be fighting some ghouls and some giant rats and 2-headed cows. Then we have the Brian Hitch variant, which is, I love they're getting these really big artists to do their takes on these characters. So you see Hitch's version.
This has a Walking Dead feel to it with all the...
I know, with the hands coming up. Yeah. And then this is the Mahmoud Asrar variant. You see his 2-headed dog that he has helping him guard the place. Really cool. And I like how it's not really a superhero book, but this character can be used in very like superhero poses, and Santa's got his own cape and everything. So it's a cool kind of middle ground between post-apocalyptic and superhero.
Yeah.
And then finally we have, this is the D cover, but this is also a Gary Frank cover.
Yeah, I wonder about this one.
Is this one glow in the dark?
That's not,
Oh.
I do wonder that too, but it's like, to me, it's like he's locked in the cave, and then who's up top? That looks like his family.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is maybe flagging that maybe there are some things we don't know. Maybe they're not still in the vault.
Oh, that'd be awkward if they come around the corner and like, oh, hey, what are you doing?
I don't know. This cover, struck me by size where I was like, it's not what I expected. So
Even
I
we don't
wonder
know
if
yet, really, like if they're still in the vault
correct,
or whatever.
if they're alive
But
at
this
all.
this makes me wonder, like, are we gonna get the answer to that mystery earlier than we expected?
Yeah, I don't know. But definitely anyone out there, if you were interested in Geiger issue 1 or you missed it, go ahead and order number 2 because I think this is going to be another one that's going to sell out.
Small note too. So there's a checkerboard across the top, which is
Yeah.
really interesting because at least in older comics, you see a lot of DC books back, I think in the 70s and 80s, would have
Right.
that. And what that was for was when you are flipping through back issues, you would see that and know that this is a DC book. And it would be kind of a nod to that. So I'm wondering if that is kind of a homage to that
cover.
old style of cover.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the cover to Mighty Morphin number 7. The issue promises that the new Mighty Morphin team is going to go up against the new Green Ranger. I feel like there's always a new Green Ranger around the corner.
Yep. I love this cover too, with the back of Lord Zed going up. That's just, I don't know. It has a lot of power to it.
Mhm.
Just waiting for a kick me sign to be put right there.
All right, this is Beta Ray Bill number 1, second print, and as you can see, it's one of those horizontal covers
I
or
love
landscape
this.
covers. So yeah, really cool. We did not sell out of number 1. We still have plenty if you need it, but some people did. So here's the second print of Beta Ray Bill number 1.
That's his ship, Scuttlebutt. Next up is Silk number 1. This is the second printing. So if you missed out on it, did we sell out of the?
We still have some. We bet pretty big on
Yeah.
Silk, so I think it's slightly different coloring on this one.
Yeah, it looks a little softer. Did you have her mask pulled down in the original, or was it up
I
over her
don't think
nose?
so. I can't remember.
I can't remember. I'm trying to spot what would be the telltale sign that it's a different printing. And then we have number 3 coming out, which I believe Silk is a 5-part miniseries.
I think that's right.
But this is when she kind of comes face to face with that new villain that was introduced in issue number 1.
So speaking of issue number 3s, Children of the Atom number 3 is available for order this week. This issue is very significant because it claims it will finally reveal the origin of the Children of the Atom. I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people in the store about who are they?
Mhm.
Do they really have powers? Is it tech? Are they mutants? Aren't they mutants? Where are they from? I know early thinking was maybe they were evil or aliens, but it's been shown they have families, they have lives. So I've been enjoying the series, looking forward to clearing up that mystery.
Yeah. Ooh, this is Kanto, City of Giants, number 2. So we just had issue number 1 come out this week, which was a big deal.
Mhm.
Like the fervor for Kanto is still very much there. People are loving it. I heard really good things about issue 1 of this. So yeah, if you got number 1, make sure that you get the number 2. Get the whole series.
I'm a sucker for a good like Grecian mythology based labyrinth tale, and that's where issue 1 kind of takes them. So look what's going to happen in issue 2. I think it looks cool. So the Last Ronin number 3 is available for order this week. This is the final issue of it.
Was it only 3
Yes.
issues? Wow.
Yep, just 3 issues.
Damn.
Here's your chance to make sure you get your copy. This claims that there will be unexpected allies from the past. So since I read that, I've been like, okay, who? I'm not sure. We probably all need to talk about
Bebop
it
and
later.
Rocksteady come busted
That
in.
would be unexpected.
That would be very unexpected.
So
Casey Jones looks like also he might not be in a good situation.
I see that. Yeah, that's looking kind of dire.
All right, next up is Project Patron #2. This is from Aftershock, and this is about, as we can see here on the cover, the 5 pilots who pilot this Patron, who is a hero here, and they don't get recognition and they put their lives at risk for it. So if you liked #1, #2 is coming out soon.
Next up is Black Cotton #1, the second printing. I bet a lot of people missed out on the first printing. This is really interesting too, just because this is from Scout Comics, who's now being distributed by the same place as DC. So I feel like Scout's going to become a lot more visible to comic book stores because when we're doing our orders, it's right there. I mean, this was right after Batman in the list of books we're looking at. So I think it's very smart to put the #1 to a second printing. This is kind of a Elseworld type story where the race roles are reversed, and African American and the black are the kind of the upper class, and then the minority are Caucasian. So this #1 sold out. It was, it's heating up pretty severely. I mean, you can tell just whenever a book has kind of a plot like this, it gets a lot of attention, media attention, and everything. Mm-hmm. So this is a good time to jump onto it because we're also talking about #2, which comes out the same week. So definitely want to pick these up if it sounds interesting to you. I also think Scout is going to be a company to keep an eye out.
For sure.
All right, so Department of Truth #1 is finally being released. I kid. This is the 5th printing of issue #1. So for everybody trying to get all the printings, I'm getting all the printings. Mm-hmm. For anyone who is just jumping on board, which every day we have somebody walk in the shop who's just now getting into the Department of Truth.
Great series.
The word is still spreading, so I'm glad that they keep doing these printings. We keep running out of the new. We keep going.
Got a lot.
This is hit the roof. Like everyone has read it at this point, but no. So 5th print is available.
It's kind of a big deal, like to re-put out a printing of a book that like we've already got a volume 1 of, and we're kind of past that, and we're going back. It really shows like people are like, I want the single issues. I want to collect everything. So.
Yeah. All right, next up we have the first of the Future State collections coming out. This is Future State Next Batman. So if you didn't know what was going on with DC for the past couple months and you missed out on Future State, maybe your shop doesn't have them all, you can get this collected version. This collects Future State Next Batman 1 through 4, Dark Detective 1 through 4, Nightwing 1 through 2. So it's $34.99, and glad to start having these collected volumes.
I have to say, I just noticed this, but it looks like the helipads he's heading towards, they remind me of a PlayStation controller's buttons.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So just a little point there.
Oh, this is the sorry, I didn't even I was thinking of the second cover for this. This is the Amazing Spider-Man Great Power graphic novel. This collects Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 10 and Amazing Fantasy 15. So I'm interested. I hope this is something they do with a lot of the characters, because I feel like a lot of the ways that you read these are to get these early stuff are in like omnibuses that tend to be $100, $150. It's cool that they're actually doing this. Is a $15.99 trade that collects that kind of first story arc of Amazing Spider-Man. And then there is a variant, the Cho variant, which I think it's so funny now that they are doing variants for trades and collected editions.
Yeah, I think this is cool too, because I mean, it's like, once you're enough of a Spider-Man fan, don't you want to read that original stuff? And it's just hard to find it. Even when you're looking for like the True Believer stuff, that's not always in print. So it's nice they just collected it up. There's Amazing Fantasy 15, the first 10 issues. There you go.
Yeah, in order, because a lot of the times too, they'll put out those collections that are like Spider-Man versus the Lizard, and it'll be like a select issues from all around. But for people who are like, I want to read everything, you want to start at that first appearance and then #1.
All right, so Crossover is about to hit its 6th issue, which is going to end the first arc Kids Love Chains.
Kids Love Chains.
You know what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, which is a quote from Todd McFarlane from back in the 90s, where people were asking him why Spawn was so popular, and he said, Kids Love Chains. Donny Cates remembered that, named it his first arc here. So this is a solicitation for the first trade paperback. It is going to be issues 1 through 6, even though 6 is not out yet. I'm pulling that Spawn's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, bring Spawn
with
into
that,
it. We
that
need more
title
crossover.
Yeah.
is such a, like, how could you go through Kids Love Chains and not have the King of Chains Spawn at the end?
Yeah, so if you want a collected edition, or you want to wait around for it all to be out, or you missed the first few, just wanted to let everyone know that that is available for order.
Okay, next up, there is no title on this yet, but it is called The Princess Who Saved Herself. This is a hardcover book, and it's definitely for younger readers. This is sort of a spin on the princess myth, as you can tell by the title, The Princess Who Saved Herself. She loves snakes and rock and roll music.
I was going to say, she's rocking out.
I haven't heard this song, but it's actually based on a song by Jonathan Coulton.
Yeah. Yeah, Greg Pak is the writer of this. He did a Kickstarter, and he does a lot of his Kickstarters based on, like, lyrics of Jonathan Coulton songs, which are kind of crazy. And I believe this one was also a Kickstarter, or it was like a if you backed one of his things at a high enough tier, you got this as well.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're putting this out because it's a very, like, empowering for young girls.
Yeah, so if you've read, like, Zeta the Space Girl, yeah, it's good indie, not necessarily superhero related, collected graphic for kids.
Next up is Star Wars Mandalorian Guide to Season 1. So this is put out, like, if you know Star Wars Insider, they will occasionally do these, like, special collector's edition one-offs that spotlight something. This one spotlights the Season 1 of The Mandalorian, so this has, like, character profiles, behind the scenes, concept art, all of that stuff, all these bonus features and interviews, all that. So this is the A cover. This is also $12.99. All of these covers, these first two are $12.99. And then we have the more traditional magazine looking. This is the newsstand. The first one was the previews exclusive. This is the newsstand with Grogu on the cover. And then you have, which is cool, they're doing a hardcover as well. This one is $19.99 with his, looks like his second armor.
All right, and that is our show for this week.
Woo! Pretty big week this time around, so definitely take notes, go back through, and make sure you are not going to miss out on the things that you want the most. That's why we do this show, because we don't want you to end up at your shop, look at the shelves, and see a blank spot for that comic that you wanted. So if you need to order them through us, we're going to leave some info up on the screen, and please feel free to reach out to us.
Yep, and feel free to watch our other show. We do a show every Tuesday where we review the comics that are coming out on Wednesday, a day early. We do sort of a spoiler-free review. So, and thank you. If you watch us on YouTube, please hit subscribe. We're heading towards 800 subscribers on our slow but steady march to 1,000.
Yep.
So join the army here as we continue doing these shows. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And more and more people are coming by, saying their opinion, dropping some nice comments, and we do appreciate that.
Our followers would need a name for them, like Fluxians or something.
Put it in the comments. What do you guys want to be called? All right, guys. Well, we will see you next Friday. And until then, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.